How many times you gonna edit this?
No, this I tried to fill it up as much as possible. The only thing is the order, it's a bit out of place.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
so we flip that, flip this way, flip that way.
That's easy.
Yeah.
The whole idea is it's easy to find stuff on there, so it's order doesn't make so much difference.
Okay.
Montezero, you gonna join us?
Yes, sir.
All right.
There's a sheet for you too.
Thank you. Just gonna get to grab you some coffee real quick.
Thank you. Good, thank you. Home complaint.
Amen.
So you think with these sheets, they don't have Nakudot, but a lot of things we learned that from the Swarm don't have Nakudot either, right?
What's Nakudo?
The vowelization underneath the word. Called it Nakuda. That's Nakuda, and that's singular, Nakudot is plural.
Okay.
Nudika is not the word to say.
That sounds like a word you want to say. Oh.
No. Okay. Is the camera on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here at Yeshiva Samanavshi in Yerushalayim here at Kodesh. We're located not too far from the central bus station on Rehov Zikron Yaakov number 6 and the Beit Knesset of Tanahi Yeshiva, so you can walk from the central bus station or take a bus, drive if you have a car. Coming from Kuslarz, please fly in and join us for our shiur. Now we're learning Pirkei Avos, the first shiur in the morning here at 9 o'clock in Yerushalayim. And we're continuing on with our explanation of the first Mishnah of Avos, Moshe Kibbutz Torah in Sinai. Mostly the Shul is a Zakenim is the Nevi'im, and finally the Nevi'im Moshe Anshi Knesset Gedolim. So let's just look at the first core at the top of the page. Just review this Rav Bartanur that we've been learning the last few days. You have it?
Yep.
Yeah, I think you have it numbered, number one page, so one page.
I see the numbers now.
Yeah, we're making improvements. We're getting moving.
High tech, all high tech.
Yeah, right. Okay. So the Rav Bartanur is explaining what was the Anshe, who consisted of the Knesset Gedolah. What kind of people were they? And he'll explain. And we had some questions on that. We're trying to clarify today, Mitzvah. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Anshe Knesset Gedolah, May of Esrim Zakenim. These are 120 elders. Movavi, Shraya, Ra'avia, Mordechai Bilshan, Shahaya B'mei Ezra, Kisha'alu Min HaGola B'Beit Sheni. These are the people who were at the time of Ezra came up in the Gola for the second base of Mikdash. U'Beklolim and their cohorts included with them. Chagai Zakar Malachai, the last three Nevi'im, and Nehemiah ben Hilkiah, Achila. Okay, and their friends.
Okay, now these two different categories, I still haven't come to the conclusion why the Rav Bartanur is making two different categories, right? You see, there are two sets.
Rashi breaks it down the same way.
Right, a little. I think it's Mikatzer a little bit more. I don't think it's word for word. I tried to look at the Rashi a little bit in depth, and it seemed like Rashi was being Mikatzer, and Rav Bartanur's Myrick is adding some things. So maybe I have a chance later, as time goes on, during next week, we'll try to understand what because the Rav Bartanur usually is modeled after Rashi.
What's Makatzer?
He shortens. Condensation is a condensation of Rashi.
Condenses, okay.
Okay. So now the first thing was the Me'er Esri Zakenim. So if you turn to page on the second page, I just want to clarify one point we discussed previously. They're almost in the middle of Hakdama Liyada Zakala Rambam. So the Rambam.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. You have it there. On the second page in the middle.
Okay.
There's a Hakdama Liyada Zakala
The one that's not underlined.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's wait. Easy to find. The one that's not underlined.
Got it.
Okay. Beis Din Shel Ezra, Hein Mikroin Anshe Knesset Gedolah.
So that's another definition. The Beis Din of Ezra, right? That was called a Anshe Knesset Gedolah, which is first of all, you don't have a Beis Din Shekel. 120 is an even number, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe it's a loose expression, Beis Din.
Right.
Is that because that's also going to be? This is not the Sanhedrin either. right? Sanhedrin is 71 maximum, right? So it's not Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin would probably have a Sanhedrin as well, but that was not what we're talking about here. This is called the Anshe Knesset Gedolah.
They Chagai, Zechariah, Moachai, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, the Nehemiah ben Achila, Mordechai, Bilshan, the Zerubbabel, the Harbe Hachamim, Imahem, Tishamim, Me'av, Esrim, Zekanim. So these basically, like everybody we know from that time.
Right. But that was it. I mean, everyone who came up from Babel, I mean, there were, I imagine, some left in Babel, but everyone who came up from Babel, they were the Gedolei Adur, and they formed the Anshe Knesset Gedolah. And the Rambam here mentions Harbi Chachamim. So we're talking about Chachamim, and that came a total of 120 Zekanim. So the Chachamim of that, so it's not the Zekanim that were in the previous generations, which were privileged to be with Moshe Rabbeinu and on the level of actually having known and understood what Hashem was revealing to the Klal Yisrael at the time when we came out of Mitzrayim and through the time of Yeshua and further on. Rather, it was the Chachamim that were in that door of Ezra that when they came back from Babel, they re-established Klal Yisrael in the keeping of Torah. So we'll turn back to page 1 again and continue. We read the Ra, right? In the middle, actually in the middle, right? I think we are that second part, why they called it. Now, Nevi'im, it's worthwhile, a little bit technical, but it's worthwhile. We have here the Bnei Chananel and also the Ran in terms of the Memches Nevi'im, because first of all, let's take a look at the Metzudas David. We're talking about whether Mordechai Balshan was the Mordechai of the time of Esther and Achashverosh or not. So let's first understand two pages from the Metzudas David and the Malbim on this Lashon, the name Mordechai Balshan. Go ahead.
Metzudas David?
Yeah.
Mordechai Balshan, Hu Shem Echad, V'hu Dor Deser, Dor Deser Malka. This is the uncle of Esther Malka. V'nikra Bilshan, Al Shiyada, V'shivim, Lashon Kol
Cain,
Amr
Chazal. Rabbeinu Zechon.
So this is our Mordechai.
This is our Mordechai. According to the Metzudas David, right? Mordechai Balshan is our Mordechai that's known and loved, right? The Dod of Esther, and he's called Balshan because he understood 70 Lashonos. And the Malbim
says Mordechai Bilshan Ladas Hazal, Hu Shem Echad Mordechai Shiyada Kama Lashonos. See, this is one of the names of Mordechai who knew many languages.
That's just like the Metzudas David,
right? Ladas
Yesh
Meforshim Haim Shnei Shemos. These are two names, two different people.
There's Mordechai and there's Bilshan.
Okay, two different people.
But
Bilshan is the second person.
I believe so. Okay. I believe that's the shot in the Malbim. It's two different people, two different names.
When we say Farishon Husham, the Nehemiah Nisifras.
Okay, that's just the that's further on. Okay, now since they mentioned about the Nevi'im, it's worthwhile taking a look at the Rabbeinu Hanan. We'll go back one more up. He lists the 48 Nevi'im. Okay, and we're going to contrast that with the Kedushi Aran, who also has a list, which is a little bit different. And again, we have to realize that when we're talking about Nevi'im prophets, there were many, many prophets in Klal Yisrael, right? Thousands and thousands. Nevertheless, the Memches Nevi'im, which we refer to, those are those that gave their prophecy, which was transcribed and preserved for generations. And the various statements that we have in Tanakh, right, in Torah, Kesuvim and Nevi'im, those statements, which are either individual statements or separate books, like take for example Yonah, right? Yonah was a prophet, he has his own sefer called Yonah. So those prophecies which were accepted and preserved for each generation onward from the time they gave the prophecy, those are considered the 48 prophets that Klal Yisrael. But there were many more prophets besides that. And we'll see there's a difference in the listing. Let's take a look here. Let's do Rabbeinu Hanan.
Okay, so you start Moshe, the Aaron, the Isar,
Yeah.
the Elkanah, the Avyasaf, b'nei Korach, Nisnavu b'midbar.
Right, so those are the sons of Korach that they had prophecy in the Midbar. That's not the Shivim Zakanim and Meldon or Eldad. That's not referring to that.
Yeshua.
As a matter of fact, I don't think they're not mentioned here because whatever they did say, that wasn't written down for Doros. We don't have what what they said for Doros.
Okay, Yeshua, Pinchas. I assume that's separate people.
Yeah, right. The punctuation is lav davki.
Oh, okay, fine.
The Rabbeinu Hanan certainly didn't put it in.
Okay, fine. Elkanah, Gad HaChozeh, Natan Hanavi, Asaph.
Okay, skip that bracket. So
Next page.
Yeah.
Heman, Yedosan, Shmuel, David, Achia.
Oh, so now pay attention. There's no Shlomo.
No Shlomo.
No Shlomo. We'll see in contrast. The Ran does list Shlomo.
Shmaya, Ido.
Idoi.
Okay. Azariah ben Odad, Hananiah Haroeh,
Hanini.
Hanini Haroeh,
Right.
Yehu ben Hanine, his son,
Yeah.
Eliyahu, Michyahu, Avodyahu, Elisha. Yechezkel is a question.
I make more. Yeah, that's
Okay.
why that's in brackets. I'm not sure.
Okay. Eliezer ben Dodyahu, Yoda ben Amitai, Zechariah ben Yehuda, Amutz, Chavakuk, Zephaniah ben Kushi, Yirmiyah, Yeshaya, Yechezkel, Daniel, Baruch ben Neriah, Azariah ben Machsaya, Mordechai Bilshan,
Here's our Mordechai. Okay.
Hoshea ben Bari, Amos, Micha Hamorashti, Yoel ben Pituel, Nahum, Chadai, Zechariah, Malachi, Zion, Leos, and then the 7 prophetesses are Sarah, Miriam, Devorah, Huldah, Hannah, Abigail, and Esther.
Okay. And that's the first list. Okay. Now drop down a couple down to the Kedushia, and we're going through the 48 Nevi'im and 7 prophecies that we had in class. We just went through the Rabbeinu Hananel's list. Now we're going to do the Ran's list of the 48 prophets.
Okay. Arba'im v'shmona Nevi'im, 48 Nevi'im, Elohein, Moshe v'Aaron, Isar v'Elkanah, v'Avyasaf, b'nei Korach, Nisnavnu b'Machaneh. So is Avyasaf not one of the b'nei Korach?
Apparently not.
Because that's in the case of the Rabbeinu Hananel, it wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Again, there's punctuation, so I'm not sure whether
Right.
it was with it or not.
Yeah, Avyasaf.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And so,
Isn't it missing the 2 guys who prophesied that Moshe was going to die?
Eldad made that because as we mentioned, these 40, there were many prophets in Klal Yisrael, thousands, but there wasn't for Doros.
Okay.
Whatever they said, even though we have record in Chazal and Rashi explains what they in fact prophesied, but that wasn't something which no you do. But that Moshe Rabbeinu would not be going into Eretz Yisrael. That wasn't a prophecy which was relevant for all generations.
I think it is. Moshe Rabbeinu not going into Eretz Yisrael for Moshe.
No. I mean, obviously it was only relevant for that
The
time.
beginning of Be'er of Atadya, Shtav, you will see the conquering of Egypt. But the Shoshim V'Chaim Melechim Shalom Yisrael,
That's land and Shmash. That's part of Shmash.
already started over there.
Yes, the Rashi brought it already back down in
Last week's
Rashi.
Yeah.
But he knew already. It was told at the very beginning he wouldn't. He never gave up hope. He pounded the.
when it says b'nei Korach here, so since we're counting 48, there was a specific number of b'nei Korach.
Apparently, I'm not sure exactly what if they counted as one group or as they counted separately.
Okay. Okay. Yoshua, Pinchas, Elkanah, Gad HaChozer, Natan HaNavi, Asaf, Haman, Yedotan, Shmuel, David, Shlomo.
So here we have Shlomo. In the previous list of Rabbeinu Hananel we read a few moments ago, Rabbeinu Hanan did not list Shlomo, right? So, because it's a question of whether Shlomo Melech had Nevu or not. So that means Koheles, Shirim, right?
But the Gemara Megillah, I'm just learning it, that he did Kohelet with Nevuah. There was a machloket in the Gemara.
Right, so the question is whether or not, first of all, the Anshe Knesset Gedolah had good questions about whether they want to actually
That's right.
include Koheles in
That's right.
in the Sifrei Tanakh, right? And Shir Shirim also had very, even though Rashi says it really Kodesh Kadoshim name, but so whether he had Ruach HaKodesh or not, so that, as you said, is a question, right? That's a question. We see that there were...
But they put it in.
They put it in, but it could be, right? It could but you have by Ksuvim also. Ksuvim are not necessarily because of Ruach HaKodesh, because of prophecy. Ksuvim could have been put. I mean, Chachma he had definitely.
Right.
Whatever he wrote with Chachma. There's no question about it. And his books, his Sroim are so in the end are included in what we have is Tanakh. Right, but we have
They're not Navi.
Right.
They're specifically not Navi.
Right.
What's Kasuvim?
Right, scriptures.
Scriptures.
Writings.
Writing.
It's
Now,
the five
now,
Tehillim.
like
Tehillim,
all of the
Mishlei.
Tehillim, I'm not sure all of the Tehillim are Ruach are prophecies. I'm not sure if they're all considered to be prophecies.
Right, and that's why they're Ksuvim and not Tehillim, and not
Not
Navi.
Nevi'im, they're not Nevi'im, they're not Nevi'im, right.
Right.
I don't understand. Okay, so you're saying that David could have written some of the Tehillim just from himself?
Yes, through wisdom. As we were learning last week, we had most of the time we spent last week was learning that the Chazal say is Chacham is Aidif Minavi. A Chacham is more advantageous than a prophet, right? And that meaning that wisdom is more advantageous. There's more advantages to wisdom than to prophecy. Right? Just to give you the week's work in a nutshell, basically. Even though a Navi is getting a direct communication from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, in general, except for Moshe Rabbeinu, all prophecies were involuntary. They came spontaneously or through efforts on the part of the Navi to be able to receive the communication from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. When they got the communication from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, they were commanded with that communication to pass that on to Klal Yisrael. So they gave a message to Klal Yisrael. That's it. Once the message was given, that was the end of the...
Finished.
Right. They could have been a Navi once in their life. Many of their times they were prophets and they maybe never even reached prophecy, but they were prepared to receive the prophecy. Sometimes they had prophecy in great amounts, lesser amounts, depending on the need.
So we're saying that Shlomo was so great that there's a debate as to whether Hashem put this in his brain or whether he came up with it himself?
Right. It's not known, right, whether Shlomo would... Well, let me put it this way.
He's a very smart guy, this thing.
Right.
He's very smart.
Yeah, I mean, through wisdom, he achieved through his wisdom, certainly, and that's what we also spoke about. A Hakam can reach the levels of a prophet through his wisdom rather than through the communication from a Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Okay.
Right?
I'm following.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means when you write, when you read Kehelis, all these words of prophecy, right, or these words of wisdom, right? In all cases, it's words of even possibly there's words of wisdom, but it's a wisdom which is coming directly from a Kadosh Baruch Hu to the prophet. But the words of wisdom are words which are
Thought,
exactly. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, continuing, we have...
Sure. We had left off by Shlomo.
Right, we have Achia, Shemaiah, Edo, Azariah ben Edo, his son, Hanani Haroah, Yehu ben Hanani, Eliyahu, Michyahu, Avodyahu, Elisha, Yechezkel, Yonah, Zechariah ben Yehuda, Amutz, Chabakuk, Sephania ben Kushi, Yirmiyah, Yeshaya, Yechezkel, Daniel, Baruch ben Neriah, Shariah ben Mechasya, Mordechai Bilshan, Hoshea ben Ari, Hoshea ben Bari, Amos, Micha, Hamorashti, Yoel ben Betuel, Nachum, Chagai, Zechariah, Malachi. That's the end of the 48.
Those last Chagai, Zechariah, Malachi, those were the last of the prophets, and they were included in the Anshe Knesset Gedolim, right? And then you have the 7 prophetesses.
The 7 prophets, V'shem Nevios, Sarah, Miriam, Devorah, Huldah, Hannah, Abigail, and Esther.
Rivka's missing from here.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Could be not Bedoros. It wasn't Bedoros.
This is the
What's Bedoros?
for generation.
For posterity.
It's going to be.
Rivka is only
for
just,
Yaakov.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, you have.
Yeah, but if you think about it,
Mhm.
that is a future Yiddishkeit. Because her nevuah of what Esav was going to do to Yaakov, forget the first one, the second one, that there would be no Yaakov who would be here, so it is for Doros.
Yeah, no, there's no question that whatever the prophet said had a
in effect.
exactly an effect, a consequential result for Klal Yisrael, right? But the question is, again, when it was decided that they're going to have, for whatever reason, it was Mem Ches, 48 prophets, right? So there was a decision that was made as to which ones would be included in
And
this.
also, think about Rachel and Leah were also, they also had prophecies.
Right.
Especially when you read the Rashi, it's always through prophecies, that
Yeah,
all the kids and all the names and everything was all through prophecies.
Okay, so again, when just like we had Targum mitzvahs, 613 mitzvahs, right? So there's a little bit of a machlokus in the showing you exactly which 16 it is, right? So you have also here you have the difference of opinion because I don't think it's a Mefurish Gemara that which the 48. Maybe there is, I'm not sure. But even then, it might be a machlokus showing you exactly what's included in that.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough with this, I think. Yeah.
What does it mean, Chutz Mikra Megillah? After Esther.
Esther, this is a continuation of meaning. I think the reference here is Esther was a prophet, meaning not to think that the Mikra Megillah was through prophecy. Meaning that was something which was included in the chronicles of the non-Jews in Persia as well, and it was written right because you never see a reference to Kol Amar Hashem. The Shem Hashem doesn't even result in Megillah. So you don't want to say that was said through prophecy. I'm not sure. I mean, again, what was when we have these? Okay. Hannah, we understand where her prophecy is. Sometimes Esther, where was her prophecy? Abigail, where you have to know you have to be expert in Nach to know exactly where these.
Hannah's prophecy was for Shmuel.
Yeah, that's
a one-time prophecy for her son, which is no different than Rivka with Yaakov. I mean, unless there's other prophecies that I don't know about.
Yeah.
Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi, they came up. Where did they prophesy?
Yeah.
In Bavel or in Eretz Yisrael?
Well, there usually in general was no prophecy in Chutz La'aretz.
Right.
So
it's after they came. They prophesied after they came back.
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Okay.
Before they left.
I'm not sure if they were that old.
Yeah. Don't forget, if they would have left, if they were part of the National Gedolim, they came back. So that means if they were there when they left, that would have been 70 years earlier.
So
the question is, when were they prophesying? How So it's probably now the other question about but Yoda prophesied outside of Eretz Yisrael.
That was a special exception. Yeah, true. That was because that was not for the Yidden. Yeah, that was something special. Okay, now next, trying to understand more about. Jump down one, skip the base of it here, and go to the Pirkei Arid. You have Mordechai Bosher. There's a Gemara in the Menachos which mentions Mordechai, and Rashi explains there. It's talking about Mordechai from the time of Esther. So the Tosfos there in the Tosfos Arid echoes the kasha that they have. Mordechai Balshin, go ahead. The Tanei Ali.
Mordechai Balshin, Tanei Ali.
Oh, so look at the Metzudas David. We do up at the third line. The third underline is the Metzudas David in the Malbim.
Right.
Mordechai Balshin, who Shem Echad, who Dod Esther. It's one name. Mordechai Balshin is one name, and he was the Dod of Esther, meaning Mordechai of the Achashverosh, Mishnah Melech. V'nikra Balshin, why al Shiyada Shivim Lashon? He's called Mordechai Balshin because he knew 70 languages. Okay, so the question, how long did he live? So that's a question. So we drop that back down to the Pirkei Arid.
Okay. Mordechai Balshin, Tanei Ali, it's a question to me. If should Hava Chai Mordechai ad Malchei Hashmonai, that the life of Mordechai lasted until the times of Hashmonaim, Shahayu Yoser Me Mosayim Shana Acha Bidin Bayasheni. This would be more than 200 years after the building of the second Beis Hamikdash.
Right. So Rashi doesn't have a problem learning that Mordechai might be, because Mordechai, the pasuk in the Esther says he came out from Yerushalayim, Golog Yerushalayim. He came out, so he left 70 years before Purim, and then he would live almost 200, maybe almost 300.
But why is
But did he return to Eretz Yisrael?
Excuse me?
Did he return to Eretz Yisrael?
He came with the Ashkenaz Gedolah. That's our Rav Bar
They claimed that Esther's and Mordechai's grave are in Iran. That was the whole thing, that it was going to be a fight that a couple of years ago they wanted to tear it down.
Yeah.
There was a big fight about that. They wanted to tear it down because it was Jewish. They don't want nothing Jewish on the ground. That's number one.
Yeah.
And number two, at the end of the Megillah says that they were upset with Mordechai because he stayed in the government, didn't go back to the ancient Megillah because he wasn't learning after that.
Well, that's the next. Let's look at the Sefer Kaddish Kemet. You had a question?
Yeah,
Well, hold on to your question. Hold on.
It
Yes.
says Mordechai was around till the Hashmonaim. How do we know that?
Because of that the Gemara Menachos that the Tosfos Arid and Tosfos himself is asking on the Rashi there mentions about Mordechai,
Okay.
and then Rashi explains, right? It could be a Mordechai, there could be a very common name Mordechai, right? But Rashi explains it's the Mordechai from the time of Esther, so that the Tosfos and the Tosfos Arid says, how can it be? Over 200 years he lived, and he's at least close to 300 years old. Look, we've had those things happen, like Hevet lived a long time.
Sarah.
So yeah, these
Sarah
things happen.
always become the Gemara's place now.
She's dying.
Ruth
That's
also.
right.
Root,
She was dying.
all the way to
That's
the
right.
base of English.
That's right.
The base of English, yeah. So it's happened, but Tosfos finds it difficult to accept, and so does the Tosfos Arid. Okay, now getting to your question, Amram, let's take a look at the Kaddish Kemach here. It brings down the Gemara in Megillah at the very, not actually at the end, but it's reference to the end of the Megillah. Go ahead. Amram, you want to take over?
Gadol Talmud Torah Yoter mi Hatzalat Nefasha.
That's what the Gemara says
Okay.
there in Megillah, right?
The Meikara Chashiv Le the Mordechai Batar Arba Uvesof Chashiv Le Betar Hey. Because in the beginning, in the things he was the fourth
Meaning there was a listing
of prophets, and he was the fourth, and
or
then he
the
was moved to the fifth.
Chachamim, of the Chachamim there.
Chachamim.
And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it's in the Psukim in the Megillah, if I'm not mistaken. So at the beginning he was the Vasadala, he was the fifth, and at the end he was considered to be the sixth, Vasahei. So first of all, you see that Mordechai wasn't the greatest, wisest person of his generation, right? But still does. So don't lose hope if you're not the smartest person in the world. And you can still achieve a lot, even though you're not the greatest and the best. Number one, you have to realize, right?
But he wasn't the smartest person.
Was not the smartest person.
He wasn't stupid.
No, he was, but he wasn't.
According to the book, seems like he was the smartest. He's the only one who took action. Everybody else didn't take the action.
Well,
That doesn't mean he was the smartest.
yeah, in terms of his godless and Torah. So again, when you're having not to criticize any of the Chachamim of the time of Mordechai, but Mordechai was on thin ice. There were a lot of the Chachamim of the generation that criticized him very much. He's not bowing down to Haman They could have varied. They told him not to go to the Suda. He's starting up at the Malchus. He's not bowing down. So he was.
In the end, he was right though.
And yeah, but until then, a lot of people were pointing their finger at him.
In the meantime, they didn't put him number 1 before. They still kept him number 4 for before and the 5 after. Because he was the only one who stood up to everybody.
So we're studying Pirkei Avos. You have to be as bold as a leopard to serve Hashem.
That's right. That's part of it. Very good, Makasha. Right. It's not just wisdom. You have to have a lot of other kochas and nefesh, a lot of other personality traits which are going to have you be successful. Success is a combination of many different factors. Most of all, is siyata d'shmaya and purity of heart and intentions, and then only wisdom and being bold and imaginative and all these other things. Those come late. Yeah.
Dirtiv Rabban Zerubbabel Yeshua, Nehemiah Saria, Ralia, Nehemiah Mordechai Bilshan, Pirush Rashi, Keshahaita lo Gedola Bevet HaMelech, that it was when it was big in the house of the king. Upirish min hachachamim, separate from the chachamim. Lo iskiru hakatuv ela echad chamesh lefi sheyara mimalato. That it was written down the 5th because he went down of his greatness. That's what the chachamim.
In relation to the other chachamim, meaning he could have seen really in one way of understanding the pshat here in Rashi, he could have remained the same, but the others who were steiging, they weren't busy with the mangas, so they kept learning and learning and learning. So some passed him by. Right?
Yeah.
Not that it doesn't say necessarily that he lost anything, but the others maybe superseded him because he was busy with more derech eretz things and wasn't in the base medrash as much as the others.
Even though he stayed alive in his head. So wait a second. If Mordechai went back to Yerushalayim,
Oh, this is your question, right?
okay, if he went back to Yerushalayim, he had nothing to do with the Malchut. I'm sure he went back to learn.
Oh, so
I'm just asking. I mean, this is. I thought he never went back. The way we end up with Megillah, it seems like he stayed as assistant to the king, and then he stayed over there.
Well,
here we're learning that he went back. If he went back, then he wasn't taking care of the Malchus.
right. Well, for number.
What's not?
Could be
In the
any.
kingdom.
See, Yaakov Shlomo lasted a few more years after the Maaseh Purim, not too long. I think
That's
it was
right.
3 years. So 3 years afterwards, then it was finished. He really checked. But then Darius took over,
Right.
and I don't know if Mordechai was in his court of Darius. I don't know.
Right. I'm saying if he went back,
Right.
that means he wasn't involved with the Malchut.
Right.
If he wasn't involved in Malchut, then he went back to his learning and to being part of the Anshe Gedola.
Right.
So he was still being put down from what we see over here.
Right. So anyway, we're going to get to this tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem. If you turn on page 2,
They can't get out of Haflamah.
on page 2 we have these 2 psukim. I believe this is the psukim, the one pasuk that was already referred to. We just had the one in Ezra and one in Nehemiah. And you can see there, I think that's the list that we're referring to, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think that's the 2 countings, right? That in the first pasuk you have Zerubbabel, Yeshaya, Nehemiah, Soria, Ro'ayala, Mordechai. Mordechai is the 6th. If I'm not mistaken, in the second pasuk Mordechai is the 7th. Right? Mordechai is the 7th. So 6 and because according to the Megillah, he was Basar Dalid. He was the 5th and 6th. This is the 6th and 7th.
Well,
I'm not sure if those are the psukim that they're comparing. I'll have to try and work on that tomorrow. That'll be
you
tomorrow.
don't count Zerubbabel.
Oh no.
Don't count Zerubbabel.
Ah, really?
These are the ones who came back with Zerubbabel. He wasn't necessarily one of the. He was the ruler, but not necessarily.
Okay. Very good. I hear. If that's the case, it works out good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll work on that tomorrow. And still.